Evening, everyone. Welcome back to another video. Before I get into today's topic, as ever, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the algorithm, and I really want us to grow in 2026. That aside, I want to talk again about Zuffa boxing. I sound like a broken record in this on this channel, but I mean, in the past 2 weeks, it's been bedlam. And I think this is quite groundbreaking, to be honest, and it could sort of fundamentally reshape the sport of boxing. And the bit I want to talk about today is Paramount, which incidentally is a broadcaster that Zuffa Boxing is signed to, and also that the UFC have signed to, in advanced sort of negotiations to buy Warner Brothers, in a move that will in a move that is rumored to be in the region of $111 billion, and it's likely to be the biggest media consolidation in years. This comes after Netflix had a previous attempt to acquire Warner Brothers for an estimated $83 billion, but withdrew. The deal is expected to close by the end of 2026, pending regulatory approval. I mean, $83 billion and $111 billion are two is quite a way away from each other. I mean, it's what, nearly $30 billion, 25% more than what Netflix are willing to pay, which shows just, I guess it just shows how much wealth, the Ellison family have, which are the people behind Paramount. And it also shows how serious they are to really disrupt the media landscape. Now, what does this have to do with boxing? Well, it's got a lot to do with boxing. A lot of the information I got to do this video is from a couple of articles by Boxing Insider. I've just come across them, but it seems like they have a lot of investigative stuff, and a lot of their stuff is quite good. So I highly recommend. I'll leave a link to both articles in the description below. Now, you at the bottom you've got TKO Group, which is a corporation that owns UFC, WWE, and Zuffa Boxing. So they're at the bottom rung, and then you've got Endeavor, which has a 61% controlling stake in TKO, and then Silver Lake is a major investor in Endeavor. It was taken private by Endeavor in a deal worth $25 billion in 2025, and that's set to be the biggest sort of media deal in recent history. So you've got TKO at the bottom, you've got Endeavor, and then you've got Silver Lake Capital, which I think own a stake in Manchester City. Massive private equity firm. They've got fingers in all sorts of different pies. But what's also interesting is you've got Silver Lake, but they also have they're also a major investor in Skydance, which is the company that is incidentally leading the Paramount sort of merger. So they're on both sides. And so we've gone through the ownership structure. I want to talk a little bit about the role of the Saudis in all of this. So you've got Turkey and Saudi Arabia, and that's via their state-backed entity, Seller. It's an events company. You'll see them in conjunction with the likes of TKO and Matchroom. So it's important to note that they're Saudi owned. Now, Seller fund the fighter purses for major fights, and TKO handles all the promotion, the production, and Paramount distribute the event. So that's how it works. Turkey's like the person who pays for everything. TKO are the people who are paid by Turkey to put on the events, the promotion, and then Paramount obviously pay a heck of a lot of money to air those on their platform. Now, should the merger take place between Paramount and Warner Brothers, it would be massive in terms of the amount of companies that would be under the control um of the combined company. And you've got the likes of CBS, a broadcaster, you've got cable TV, TNT, CNN, HBO, Showtime, Nickelodeon, you've got Paramount Plus, HBO. But I want to talk specifically about TNT Sports. We'll know them, of course, here in the UK because they're a big broadcaster of Champions League football. I believe they've lost their rights to the Champions League. But anyway, that's irrelevant. But another major sort of company that I've just listed off there is HBO. Now, HBO have been synonymous with boxing over the years. You know, a lot of, I guess, what sparked my interest in the sport, just a little detour, is the Mayweather Pacquiao era. You know, the lead up to that fight was something special, man. It really was. It sort of gripped the whole sporting landscape. It really did. You know, I wanted to watch it. I really wanted my parents to buy the pay-per-view so I could watch it. You know, it was a big deal, and a big driver behind that was Mayweather himself, because he was able to market it in such a way. You know, you had the 247, which is an infamous sort of just going behind the scenes of Mayweather's training camp, and that's what really sort of shaped HBO into the company it became. And then when Mayweather decided to sign with their arch nemesis Showtime in 2007, I believe that deal took place. It sort of dented HBO's progress, and it sort of led to their decline, and I think they ceased operations in the early 2010s. But anyway, in a full circle moment, David Ellison, who is the CEO of Paramount, has announced that HBO Max and Paramount Plus will merge into a single streaming platform. Now, combined, they would have roughly 200 million subscribers, making it a serious competitor to Netflix's 325 million. So you've got 200 million, 325 million. And as mentioned, look, I think the return of HBO would do big numbers in the sport of boxing because of its unique storytelling. The it gripped a lot of the sporting community, hooked them. Excuse the pun. More so than, and this is nothing against the zone, but you know, HBO was something else. It's like a different kettle of fish, and um, yeah, I mean, they're going to announce a streaming platform together, but Larry Ellison has said that it would retain some sort of independence. Now, where does that leave the state of boxing? Well, the Zone has an exclusive deal with Matchroom. That deal is set to expire in 2031. So they've just signed a 5-year extension with the Zone. You've got PBC, Al Heyman, which is on Amazon Prime. They've still got a broadcast deal, I believe. And then now you've got this. Oh, you've got Queensbury as well. So Queensbury Matchroom on the one banner. But this just tightens Turkey's and the Saudi control over the sport of boxing, essentially. You know, they've got Turkey has it's crazy. Turkey has things in so many different parts. He's got a 10% stake in DAZN. He's got a very big working relationship with Netflix, who incidentally tried to buy Warner Brothers. He's got a broadcast deal with Paramount. He owns a minority stake in Matchroom for the snooker and the darts, and he might even have a small stake in Matchroom. He's at war with Queensbury. I don't think he's speaking to Oscar De La Hoya. And he's got Zuffa Boxing, his newest entity. That man he is at his control in the. There's no one with more control. He owns the sport. You know, this is. I think I'm gonna leave with this because tomorrow's episode I want to talk a little bit about PBC and their failed attempt to sort of exert a similar influence and control over boxing when they had a deal with a private equity firm. I think it's a very big problem for Matchroom and Queensbury. I really do. I mean, there's never been a person I believe in a sport. Granted, I started this channel last year and I've only really gotten into the sport maybe 2 years ago. I had a brief stint with Mayweather Pacquiao, but 2 years ago. But anyway, since I've been in, I don't think there's anyone who's had the level of control that Turkey has. Matchroom and Queensbury don't together. They don't have the funds to, um, you know, to compete with Turkey. I mean, there is no way. You know, Frank Warren is suing for $1 billion, but in reality, there is no way he's getting $1 billion. That'll be settled out of court. There might be a lengthy battle, but they'll come to a settlement that will be a figure that would be infinitely below the $1 billion that they want. It's a sticky situation, and it leads me on quite nicely to the state of the two companies, because you've got Tyson Fury, who's Queensbury's biggest asset. He's fighting Arslan Mahmoudov on Netflix. Now Queensbury have an agreement in principle with the Zone. That fight isn't on the Zone; it's on Netflix. Secondly, Queensbury Promotions' logo and banner is nowhere near the it isn't on the poster of the show. Let me repeat this. Queensbury's biggest star, Tyson Fury, will fight, but Queensbury Promotions' name will not be on the banner. Similarly with Conor Benn. I mean, Matchroom, the face of Matchroom was Anthony Joshua, Katie Taylor, and Conor Benn. These were the guys that were going to lead Matchroom into a new era. Conor Benn in particular, because he's 29 years of age. AJ is getting into the latter end of his career. Katie Taylor might fight in Croke Park this summer for her final fight, but Conor Benn was the guy, and he's accepted a $15 million move to go to Zuffa. And a lot of people might look at that, and I've spoken about it a lot on the channel, and I don't want to talk too much about it, but doing this research for this video, I mean, a lot of the money that $15 million, when to take away Matchroom's biggest asset, is quite smart. I know he's only fighting Regis Prograis, it's only for one fight, but I mean, it's just a game of it's a game of chess, and Dana White has the upper hand in this game. The more and more I delve deep into it, um, and I think for all involved with Matchroom, I think it's a very interesting time, and I think it's a time that will define who they are in moments to come. If they can weather this storm, and it's a big storm, they're a small boat, and this is a big storm, and they're going to need to ride the waves, and the waves are coming crashing down. It's sink or swim. It really is. The same with Queensbury as well. I'll leave with this. Who would have thought 10, 15 years ago, Queensbury and Matchroom would work together to fight the newest entity and the newest kid on the block? But this season, you can't even call them the newest kid. They're the newest gangsters on the block. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and tune in for part 2, because